The safe door stood slightly ajar, its heavy steel mouth gaping in the quiet mansion like an accusation waiting to be answered. Inside, stacks of cash and neatly arranged documents caught the dim light, impossible to miss. From the shadows of the upper hallway, Thomas Whitaker watched, his heart pounding harder than it had during any boardroom battle or billion-dollar deal. This was supposed to be a test, a trap, a final confirmation of a suspicion that had been growing in his chest for months. But what happened next would dismantle everything he thought he knew about trust, faith, and the quiet power of a good heart. Thomas Whitaker was a self-made millionaire in the United States, a Christian by upbringing, though success had slowly replaced scripture in his daily life. He had risen from a modest childhood to immense wealth through discipline, intelligence, and relentless work. Yet the higher he climbed, the more guarded he became. Betrayal had shaped his past. Business partners who smiled while stealing, friends who vanished when profits dipped, even family members who treated him like an open wallet instead of a human being. By the time Thomas reached his 40s, suspicion felt safer than hope. That suspicion had recently settled on Elena Brooks, the quiet maid who had worked in his home for nearly 3 years. She arrived before sunrise, left before dusk, and rarely spoke beyond polite greetings. She moved through the house with a gentleness that seemed almost invisible. Yet, when small things went missing, loose cash, a watch relocated, a document out of place, Thomas's mind immediately reached the conclusion he knew too well. People took what they thought they deserved. If you believe in the kindness quest and second chances, in moments where compassion rewrites lives, take a moment now to like this video, comment, share it with someone who still believes in goodness, and subscribe to the channel. Your support helps these stories reach hearts that truly need them. Elena's life was far from easy. A Christian woman in her late 50s, she lived in a small apartment across town and spent her evenings caring for her bedridden sister. Her hands ached constantly, her knees stiff from years of physical labor, yet she never complained. Work was dignity to her. Faith was survival. Each morning, she prayed quietly before stepping into Thomas's immaculate home, asking God only for strength and honesty. Thomas never asked about her life. He never noticed how carefully she avoided even touching items that didn't need to be moved. He only noticed his fear growing louder. So one evening, before leaving for a charity event, he did something calculated and cold. He left the safe open on purpose, filled with cash and valuables, and positioned hidden cameras to catch the truth. He told himself it was necessary. Better to know now than be fooled longer. The next morning, Thomas watched the footage alone in his office, coffee untouched, jaw tight. Elena entered the study to clean, her movements slow and methodical. She froze when she noticed the open safe. For a long moment, she simply stood there, as if afraid the room itself was testing her. Thomas leaned closer to the screen. Elena approached the safe, not with excitement, but with visible distress. Her shoulders sagged. She looked around, not to see if anyone was watching, but as if seeking guidance. Then she did something Thomas had not prepared for. She closed the safe, carefully, reverently, as if sealing something sacred. But she didn't stop there. She wiped the fingerprints on the handle, straightened the papers inside to the narrow opening, and then sat down in the nearby chair. Her head bowed, her lips moved silently. She was praying. Elena remained there for several minutes, eyes closed, hands folded, tears sliding quietly down her face. When she stood, she left a small folded note on the desk, then exited the room without taking a single dollar. Thomas felt something inside him crack. With trembling hands, he paused the footage and leaned back, breath shallow. No accusation, no theft, only fear, not of opportunity, but of temptation. He rewound the video again and again, as if hoping to find a flaw, a hidden angle where his suspicion could still be justified. There was none. He unfolded the note she had left later that day. The handwriting was careful, almost fragile. She had written that she found the safe open and worried someone might get hurt or accused. She explained that she prayed for protection over the home and its owner, asking God to guard him from loss and from distrust. She apologized if she had overstepped. Thomas broke down. Years of guarded pride collapsed in that moment. He wept not because Elena had passed the test, but because he had failed it. He had assumed guilt where there was none. He had tried to trap someone whose only crime was being poor and quiet in a rich man's house. That evening, Thomas asked Elena to sit with him, not as an employee, but as a person. His voice shook as he confessed what he had done. He expected anger. He deserved it. Instead, Elena listened patiently, eyes soft with understanding born from a lifetime of being misjudged. She didn't defend herself. She forgave him. Her forgiveness cut deeper than any accusation ever could. In the days that followed, Thomas changed. Not suddenly, not dramatically, but genuinely. He apologized formally and privately. He raised Elena's salary, insisted on paid leave, and arranged medical care for her sister without conditions. But more importantly, he began asking questions and listening to the answers. He learned about her faith, her sacrifices, the way she clung to integrity, because it was the only thing the world couldn't take from her. He realized that while he had millions locked behind steel doors, Elena carried something far rarer: unshakable character. Thomas started attending church again, not out of habit, but hunger. He found himself praying late at night, asking for a heart less suspicious and more brave. He learned that trust wasn't weakness. It was risk, and risk was the price of love. Elena continued working in the house, but something had shifted. There was warmth now, respect. Thomas no longer watched cameras. He watched people. He learned the names of staff, listened to their concerns, and slowly rebuilt a life where wealth no longer isolated him from humanity. The safe remained closed after that, not because of fear, but because Thomas understood that the greatest treasures in his home were never inside it. If this story touched your heart, if it reminded you that kindness and integrity still matter in a world full of suspicion, please like this video, share it with someone who needs hope, and subscribe to the channel so more stories like this can be told. Before the ending, we have a special request. Comment below and share what the story made you feel, or write the word trust if you believe it can still change lives. Thomas Whitaker set a trap to expose betrayal and instead uncovered grace. And in the quiet courage of Maid who chose honesty over opportunity, a millionaire finally learned what true wealth looks like.